So this is the leader?
Yes, that's a war boss in mega armor.
So he can lead the boys, right?
No. If you want to lead boys, you need a regular war boss.
Oh. Well, can you buy this model?
No, what are you, crazy? This guy's like 20 years old.
Well, then how the heck am I supposed to start an orc army?
Wow! Welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast. Old Big Mek here, and in this episode we're talking about how the heck do you plan to build an army these days?
That's right, we are talking about Warhammer 40,000 and how to put together an army in 2024, especially if you're new to this game and you don't really know all the nuances about it. This video is for you. Now, we will be talking mainly about orcs. That is kind of the main theme around here, but this advice is actually good for any army. You're definitely going to want to do your research as far as like very specific units, but the generalizations here are definitely going to apply to you. So if you've always been curious about getting into the actual tabletop game or turning your minis into, instead of just being painting projects, to actually being something you'd play on the tabletop, then this is the video for you. All right, let's get into it. All right, first things first, this is a codex. The codex is what you need because inside of it are these rules. These are called data sheets, and the data sheets tell you everything you need to know about a specific unit. It gives you the stats for their movement, their strength, their toughness, what kind of weapons they have, what the profiles of those weapons are, all that kind of stuff. Now, the rules are sort of technically available online. There is a Warhammer app, but you have to be a Warhammer Plus subscriber to really access it. And these particular codexes, these new ones, they come with a code in the back, and you have to type that code into your app in order to actually unlock all of the data sheets. It's kind of dumb. There is on Warhammer Community, which is the website that you should definitely be watching out for, a list of rules, updates, FAQs, erratas, points changes, things like that. You can kind of sort of build from there, and it's definitely documents that you're going to need because, frankly, even though these are really, really expensive, you can toss them out because almost nothing in that is actually applicable, even though that book only came out a couple of months ago. All right, I know what you're saying. Hold up. I'm just getting into this game. I want to start an army, and you're telling me that the rules are really expensive and out of date, and I need to have a subscription, and then I need to buy rule books in order to plug into my app that I'm paying the subscription for in order to get the rules, and then even then I only have the rules for my army and not all the armies? Yes! That is exactly what I'm telling you, and it's really, really, really stupid. Frankly, there's no other better way to put it. The rules situation for Warhammer 40,000 in 10th edition in 2024 is a disaster. There is no other way to put it, and it's really sad because when 10th edition dropped, all of 15 months ago, all of the rules were free, all of the rules were online, all of the armies were what was on called a index, which is instead of having individual codexes for every army, you could look at the index and it had every single unit in there. Now, the index stuff is still available. You can definitely go out and look at it, and there are definitely websites such as Wapedia and apps such as Army Builder that allow you to build your army without having to be in the GW ecosystem. And those are all definitely viable options. I'll put links to everything I can find down below. And if I've missed something, those of you experienced players, drop them down in the comments so that the newbies that are watching this, no matter when they're watching this, have the ability to go find these resources that we know about that they might not necessarily do. All right, so now that we've got the rule situation kind of clarified, it's time to pick an army. For most of you, that's going to be easy. You should play orcs. For the rest of you, really what it comes down to is what scratches your itch. When you look at Warhammer 40,000, what is it that gets you excited? Are you here from playing Space Marine 2 and you really want to do Space Marines? Then by all means, go buy into some Space Marines. Understand that there are different armies within armies, especially with Space Marines. So for example, if you like the Ultramarines, they're like a generic Space Marine. But then there's very specialized ones like Blood Angels and Dark Angels and Space Wolves that have very, very different rules and very, very different models. Now, that being said, this day and age, you can kind of mix and match somewhat here and there, but really what you want to do is pick one army and one faction that you really like and focus on that until you have kind of a fighting force. Now, once you've picked an army, a great place to start, no matter which army it is this. This is the Combat Patrol. Now, Combat Patrol is a special, slimmed-down version of Warhammer 40k that Games Workshop is trying out as a way of getting people into the game. It doesn't work all that well. Frankly, the new spearheads for Age of Sigmar work a lot better, so hopefully we'll have some rules changes soon. But as a box, as a physical object to start your army, these are great. And that little intro was specifically about this one, the Orc Old Combat Patrol. This is not the current one. If you can still find this and you want to play Orcs and you don't own it, you should definitely buy it. Because the new one is all Beast Naga themed, and again, that's a whole sub-faction thingy. But basically what it comes down to is a lot of the Combat Patrols, even though they're good deals for the amount of plastic that you get and the amount of points that you get, are kind of nonsensical starter armies. For example, in this one, the War Boss and Mega Armor there that we met earlier, indeed, he cannot lead the boys that come in this box. And that is far from the only example of something like that. The Space Marine box, again, if you wanted to play Ultramarines, very much the same way. Has a Terminator captain in it who cannot lead the squads of regular Space Marines that are included. But generally, these are still a great buy, even when they are the older ones. Like this particular one is for the Eldari. Eldari are basically space elves. But yeah, really, really cool one. This one's got a bunch of jet bikes in it, as you can see, some regular guys that are Guardians, a Farseer, and this cool Wraithlord guy. Now, this box is about to get replaced within the next, probably 6 months to a year. And whatever is newer, who knows what it's going to be like. I can tell you that the newer the Combat Patrol box, generally the worse of a deal they have been. So the older the box, generally the better. You can also definitely buy these things online for way cheaper than you can in a Games Workshop store. So if you're excited about getting into 40k and you want to pick one of these up, first of all, check in the links down in my description. I've got some Amazon links, usually 15 to 20% off on Amazon for these kind of things. You can also buy from third-party retailers. There's all sorts of hobby shops that sell online through their own storefronts that offer some wicked good discounts. Valhalla Hobby is one of those. And then there's also eBay. Frankly, there are a lot of people that buy these things in bulk and then sell them on eBay for a steep discount. Now, sometimes you will get scalpers that'll want to charge you more than retail for special edition things. Don't do that. We're talking about getting into this hobby. You want to buy things on a discount. Now, I'm filming this in the middle of September, but who knows when time of the year it is when you're watching this, because I'm trying to make this pretty timely or timeless. But if you're anytime around the holidays, also keep your eye out for these. This is a Battle Force. A Battle Force is a much, much larger starter army that's typically only released around the holidays. These tend to be absolutely fantastic deals for the money. They tend to pack them full of really cool kits, usually a mix of some brand new things and some older stuff, but a nice mix. A lot of these are actually excellent starter armies out of the box, way better than the Combat Patrols. This particular one, the Beast Naga Stampede, was from the holidays before last, so 2022. And yeah, it was an excellent box. Or no, it was 23. Never mind. But anyways, it was an excellent box, and this whole army actually works right out of the box very, very well. They did a couple of Chaos ones and stuff like that too. And again, these are usually really good deals, but don't pay more than retail. You want retail or less. The retail price is definitely giving you a steep discount, and if you can get a discount off of that even further, it's a great place to start your army. Which, speaking of armies, if the particular army you are after just came out, or happen to have made an army box that is still available for, again, retail or less, definitely look into picking that up. These army boxes that launch these armies are really fun, and some of them sold out very, very fast and then go for crazy amounts of money. But a lot of them, actually, they kind of overproduced, and a lot of times the rules and stuff in them will be old and not useful anymore, and you can actually buy these for a pretty steep discount, and they're a great way to get started as well. This Black Templar army is an excellent example of that. This came out an entire edition ago. All the rules in it are completely bunking bad, but the models are all still the brand new, super useful, great models. And it comes with a ton of characters and a dreadnought and a squad. And you can find these online, again, at time of recording, for around 100 and 110 bucks shipped to your door, which is super duper duper cheap. So yeah, if you can find these army sets, definitely look into getting them. Again, you want to pay retail price or less. The Cadian Astra Militarum army, same way, they way overproduce that. It's got all the same things that are in the Combat Patrol, but you could usually buy it for about 30 bucks less than the Combat Patrol just because it's old stock sitting around. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And last, but certainly not least, are the actual starter boxes. Back in the day, there used to only be one per edition, and nowadays Games Workshop, they have a launch box, like for 10th edition was Leviathan, which again, you can find out there really, really cheap. It's an excellent starter. But then after the initial starter, exclusive giant package goes away, they have these regular production starter sets, usually like a really small beginner set, a medium-sized set, and then like an ultimate set that has terrain and everything. And those stay in production throughout the lifespan of that particular edition. Now, you can find them at discount. They tend to not be the best deal because they give you the rule book and all that jazz. And again, most of the rules, really, you kind of throw them out as soon as you get them. So they're really not the best deal. However, if you can get your hands on an older edition starter box, for example, the 9th edition starter boxes had Necrons in them as the bad guys opposite the Space Marines. If you can find those for retail or less, they're actually great starter armies still in 10th edition. Again, all the rules are useless anyway, throw all that stuff out, but you can get yourself some good starter armies. So any kind of big discount box is definitely a great place to start. Now, once you've got your starter army, you've got a box, you've built your minis, you've put them together, you've started playing a little bit, read up on your rules, and that's where you're going to find those interactions between units that work together or don't work together. And here's where it's going to be important to research your particular faction. Because these rules are living, they change on a month-to-month basis, there are certain combinations of like leaders and squads or units inside an army that maybe did work at one point in time. At one point in time, they were totally legal, and now they're not. Or vice versa. Things that used to not be able to go together now can. Those kind of things you're going to run into, and it's okay. The big thing is just going to be collect what you like, because this hobby is about fun first and foremost. If you're in this to be a super competitive, competition player, I mean, all the power to you if that's your thing, but you could deep dive on that, man. Go crazy on all of these channels that look at tactics and look at competitive gameplay before you ever buy your first unit, because it's a lot like competitive Magic the Gathering, right? Like you're going to spend way more money buying random stuff than if you just focus in on whatever deck you want to build or whatever army you want to build and build it up from there. This is more for everybody else. If you're looking to get into this game casually, you want to play down at the friendly local game store, have some beer and pretzels with your buddies at home, something like that, buy what you like. Even if the units don't necessarily coexist the best together, you can still use them. They're still good, they're still useful, and once you get a couple of games under your belt, you'll learn things like whether or not this guy can lead this squad, and then that gives you your next thing to go buy after your starter box. So for example, if you started with that old honkin' Combat Patrol from Orcs, and you had that Mega Armor War Boss and the squads of boys, you can go out there and find a war boss and buy it and add it to your army. You can go out there and buy a squad of Mega Knobs, add it to your army. They're the great next steps in the expansions. Same thing with the Space Marines. You started with the Space Marine one, now you've played a couple of games, you realize, okay, I really do want some Terminators for this Terminator captain to lead. I really do want, a lieutenant or something to lead these regular Marines. You can go buy those models. Now, the really hard part about that is you started off with this great discount, this great starter box, Combat Patrol, Battle Force, whatever you started with, and now you're adding these individual models, and they're going to be really pricey, and the dollar per point or dollar per model that you're paying is going to be higher. It's like that with all hobbies. I mean, frankly, they want to get you in the game. you know, the first hit is free, that kind of thing, right? They want that discount to get you in the door and get you hooked, and then you're spending the real money. That's where they're making their profit on those individual purchases afterward. To that, I say, definitely go out and look for discounts. Almost all of the regular production models can be found for 15 to 20% off online all the time. Check Amazon, eBay, friendly local game stores, other game stores online. You will find all sorts of options to save some money on these. The other option is kit bashing. That's something that we feature on this channel a lot. So if you really like the model building aspect of this hobby, you can save yourself a ton of money building your own characters and special units out of parts rather than buying the official models for really expensive. And here's where we're going to get into our one tangent. In the intro, we talked about this War Boss model being 20 plus years old and how you can't buy them. There are certain models and certain units that are reaching the end of production and they become hard to buy. This is one of them. Basically, Games Workshop, there's only so many things they can make and only so many models they can keep in stock at a time, and so some things start to fall off. The problem becomes when that particular model is also very useful on the tabletop, especially competitively, and people buy them out like crazy, and then the value shoots through the roof. And now your only options are to buy it secondhand from somebody and pay more than retail. Don't do that. Just wait. Trust me, just wait. Every single time a model has gone bonkers like that, eventually Games Workshop makes a new one anyway, or makes something that will work for it. And frankly, it's just kind of crazy to spend money like that. A great example is the Def Coptas for Orcs. Let me go grab one. These are an incredibly fun little model. It's a fast-moving unit that can deep strike on the board, do all sorts of crazy stuff. Originally, this model was metal. And then they released plastic versions in the 5th edition starter box called Assault on Blackridge. That's where that War Boss came from too. And that was it. This is one of those few models that never actually got its own individual release, and it started creeping up in value. In 8th edition, these things became overpowered. The rules changed on them, and they were just absolutely crazy. And people started paying insane money for them. A squad of 3 was going for $100 to $120 on eBay, which is nuts. And then 9th edition dropped with the Orc Combat Patrol with 3 brand new Def Coptas in it, and they came plummeting back down, and now you could buy that squad retail all day long. I think it's around $45. So just don't overpay for models. If you wait long enough, new ones will come around, and those people that were paying exorbitant amounts for these older models, it doesn't feel good. Don't be one of those. Don't be one of those. Another option you have is, even if you don't want to do heavy kit bashing, is finding a model within the Games Workshop range that is a great counts as. This War Boss is a great example of that. Again, this particular one is from that Assault on Blackridge set, but they have made a newer one since then. But they can't keep him in stock. He's just been really, really hard to get a hold of, and so they tend to trade for more than retail. Again, no reason to do that. You could pick yourself up the Uthak Blackhawk model, which was supposedly an exclusive, but they overproduce these like crazy. They are all over the place. You could buy them for way less than retail. And this model actually comes with rules to run as a regular standard War Boss right there in the box. So again, totally legal. It's from Games Workshop. It's the right model. They even give you the rules for it. They tell you this is a War Boss model. How easy is that? So definitely do some research on the particular faction that you're running when you get into the situation of, okay, I want to add this model, and find a way to buy it that's not overpaying. Hopefully you found some value in this video. We have a free Discord server down in the comments below. So if you find this video at any time and you have specific questions about the army that you're looking to run, or you know, what to buy next, or expansions or discounts or anything like that, definitely pop down into our Discord and throw it out there, and we are happy to help you with that. It's one of the great things about this community is you will find lots of people willing to help you out so that your hobby journey is also joyful. All right, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you new players, I see you in another video very soon, because we have all sorts of content here on this page dedicated to everything Warhammer 40,000, from kit bashing to building to painting. So until next time, Wagon!
am the great Garcolio. I need teeth for my... Let's stop there.